Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the Get Offset podcast. My name is Andrew.
And my name is Emily.
And, whoa, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking an iced coffee in a fancy beer glass from the, I guess, soon to be defunct because they're moving somewhere, Peddler Tavern. No.
Yeah, there's the glass threw me like, wait, what? I mean,
Yeah,
I
no.
know it's a weekend and all, but damn.
Yeah, it's only 9:20 in the morning. Why not have a chocolatey looking beer? No, it's iced coffee.
That's fair. Yep. I'm just drinking hydrating fluids.
Yeah.
Yep. Nothing
Okay.
exciting. I got up at 4 a.m.
Oh, why?
to start food for the day.
Oh, yeah. I guess I'll be by later. I should probably try to remember to bring you some things.
Sweet. When I say up before in the morning means like my alarm went off at 4. I rolled out of bed, walked to the kitchen, turned on the oven at 225, grabbed the already filled pans out of the fridge, dumped them into the oven, and went back to bed.
Nice.
I mean, I was home in case the smoke alarm went off, but at 225 with a fully sealed, foil wrapped container, it'll be fine.
It will be fine.
It's just been slow braising. And then I'll finish it off with doing carnitas, but
Nice.
not the traditional way. Just the taking a slow, like a oh my god, a crock pot. There we go, like a crock pot recipe that my mom used when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And
is there any soy sauce involved?
There's no soy sauce involved.
Ooh.
It's pretty straightforward. Let's see here: salt, cumin, coriander, oregano. And I think that's it for this. Oh, but bay leaves. And that's it for spices.
Cool.
You just take the pork shoulder, cube it up into like 2 to 4 inch cubes, and then chicken stock over the top, and braise it.
Nice.
And then after it's like pull apart ready, drain a whole bunch of fluid, pull it all apart, shred it, and then bake it in the oven on high, like 450 or something like that, just to crisp it up, give it that tender but crispy thing.
Nice.
I was thinking about mixing in a little bit of lard for that final stage to help it fry itself a little bit, because that's closer to traditional. And
I don't know.
Also because I've got lard in the cabinet and I'm trying to figure out ways to use it before it goes rancid.
Smart. Probably for the best.
Yeah, we'll do that. Tacos will be a chill hangout.
Yeah. Cool. I spent a lot of the day practicing the old bass guitar. I have a Jerf gig coming up on March 12th, so I've been just trying to kind of relearn those songs, and then there's a couple of new ones for that gig at Drunkies. So that'll basically be our first gig before we get into really high gear practice for a May tour that we're doing through the Northwest. So I'm really, really excited about all that. But I was playing all these Jerf songs. I kind of got, the ones that I know. I'm just like, let me just remember the fingers on all of these songs, and then for any that I didn't like have memorized, I'm like, I'll just get those. I'll get those later. I'll get those tomorrow, and the new things. And I was like, I'm just gonna put on the YouTube on the TV and just learn some other things. So.
Yeah.
Rick and I were just kind of sitting in front of the TV with basses and just going through like Prince songs, Jackson 5 songs, just fun songs to learn on bass. And that's what we did for a lot of yesterday morning. And it was really, really fun. Just like going through tutorials, learning things that you might not have just otherwise decided to learn is invaluable. But we realized with the Apple TV, because a lot of these tutorials, they'll have like the tab along the bottom. If you pause on the Apple TV, it pulls up like recommended videos on like the bottom 25% of the screen. covering the tablature. It never goes away. It'll just
That's
stay there for the
dumb.
entire time that it's paused. It's the fucking worst like UX. It's the worst of the apps on the Apple TV, I think, is the YouTube app. We're mad about it.
I'd be mad about that. I'm trying to think because I've only watched YouTube like once or twice on the new TV, and I don't remember what it does when I pause.
Yeah.
But I'd be pissed if that's what it does because it doesn't do that on like a PC, which is where I
Yeah.
spend where I watch most of my YouTube on lunch breaks at
No.
work.
No, it doesn't do that on a PC. It just does that on the Apple TV. I'm like, what? I know that you want me to keep watching, but why would you assume that a pause means I immediately want to watch one of these like 3, 4, 5 other videos? It
Maybe it's
means
catered to millennials with a short attention span.
I'm a millennial.
Or Gen Zers. There we go. Gen Zers. Gen
They're,
Zers are old enough to buy TVs and have apartments now.
yeah, that's cool. Great, great, great. They're not the problem. They're not the ones who are making this UX. Maybe they are, but they're not the ones who are like in charge of it. It's like it's such bullshit.
Maybe they are.
Obviously it's not all about me, and obviously this thing works.
Maybe it's some UX designer like fresh out of undergrad with a communications degree and no relevant tech experience going, yeah, that'll be fine.
One interesting thing that like I will almost be damned before I like it's like part of me kind of a little bit wants to do this, and I look at my numbers and I'm like, I don't think I'm big enough to like do this without being like the worst thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said with the number of people who watch YouTube on their TV for my demos, I should put QR codes to the products with my affiliate links on the screen so people can scan it and buy it from their phone with my affiliate link. And I kind of think I'd rather not.
It'd definitely be extra editing work. A couple of that's one. I think it's
It'd be barely any. I just have to it's that's not what I'm concerned about.
if it's just like at the end of the video and that'd be fine. If someone's asking for like just to sit in the corner the entire time, I'd be concerned about eyesore.
I don't I don't like QR. I mean, I don't like QR codes.
But why?
I think they're fine. I love that like Coinbase did a whole ass commercial just having people scan a QR code that they didn't know what it was. Like, aren't you
Yeah.
not supposed to scan QR codes when you don't know what they are?
And that's where I was going to go with next, which is it's a security nightmare for anybody.
Yeah,
Um,
that's like you're not supposed to scan unknown QR codes
oh
anymore.
yeah, it's like clicking on a link that you get it from a random email address. It turns out to
Yeah,
be a phishing link. Yeah,
yeah.
like it's exact. It is clicking a link just with a different modality of using a left click on a mouse.
Which tells you everything you need to know about who Coinbase wants their users to be.
Uh, Naive folks that don't realize that by going with something like Coinbase, the whole point of crypto is stripped away because now it's traceable to you instead
Yeah,
of going with a offline wallet that's not tied to any particular entity and therefore can't be taxed or traced. What?
yeah. Well, I don't know anything about crypto. I don't care. My crypto's definitely being taxed and traced. How would you feel if I told you I used some crypto to buy from my PayPal wallet to buy the fuck Putin um guitar pedal from Caroline Guitar Company?
I mean, you go, girl. You do what you want to do. It's your life. It's your money. That could be $80 billion one day.
I didn't actually. I just used some other part. It's an option now when I go to
Hmm.
buy something with PayPal. It's like, do you want to use your crypto? Like, not really.
Yep. Feels at this stage like using it to pay for things feels a bit like Chuck E. Cheese tokens.
Yeah.
It's like someone else is just gonna like, are they gonna also trade it or are they gonna trade it? I don't know.
That's what makes it feel like not money. It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
I don't think it's stupid, but I don't think we're there yet as a
It's like if you're
society.
not spending it, it's not money. You're just hoarding it. It's hoarding.
It gets treated like stock right now, more so than it does currency.
Which
That's
means
all
it's
it's.
not currency.
Mm.
If you're not
And there it
if
is.
you're not spending it, it's
The
not
quiet part out
money.
loud. So I spent real money this last
Oh.
week.
Oh.
Um, all right. So story time. I got a text from a buddy last weekend saying, "Hey, I'm looking to buy a bass guitar. I don't entirely know what I'm looking at. Could you come with me and uh, we could try out a couple things and you help me from making a terrible life decision that I'm going to regret after the return date is passed." And I said, "All right, that's fine. I was already planning on being out and about. So, well, what stores do you want to go to?" He lives in like Shoreline.
Sure would.
Sure would like to. So he lives in Shoreline. Like, all right, so what's up there? Like, where do you want to go? And we would talk back and forth. And he's like, all right, so here's the game plan. We're going to go to Trading Musician because
Great store.
American Music was closed. It was on Monday. Um,
Hmm.
so he's like, we'll go to Trading Musician. And then if they don't have it, I'm just going to eat crow and go to Guitar Center and give big corporate my money. So, all right, cool. I need to run a couple errands and I'll meet you at Trading Musician. All right, cool. Yeah, let me know when you're on your way and I'll meet you there. So an hour later, I text him, hey, I'm on my way. I'll be there in 15 minutes. He's like, cool, I'll see you there. And I get there and I'm walking around like, where is this guy? And so I text him like, hey, buddy, where are you? He's like, I'm in the pro audio department. I'm like, Trading
Oh, he went to
Musician?
Guitar Center.
He's like, oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you. I looked at all of Trading Musician stock online and they didn't have anything that I was interested in. So I decided to go straight to Guitar Center.
Why wouldn't he tell you that?
I don't know. I just forgot. And so, all right, that's fine.
God,
Whatever.
dude.
I'm just going to poke my head around here for a couple minutes since I'm already here. I already parked, walked my way over, and then I'll meet you over at Guitar Center.
Just so people understand, Guitar Center is literally like 3 blocks north of the Trading Musician in
Yep.
Seattle.
Yep. Yeah, it was not far at all.
So this wasn't like a major inconvenience for
No,
Andrew.
no. Super minor, but I figured I'd just walk around real quick, just see what they had. I saw that they had a silver screw DS1 in the cabinet. I'm like, but I didn't want to spend like, I think they're asking like $350 for it. So like, some cool stuff, and I started
Yeah.
poking around the used pedal cabinet, and this is when I know I should have just walked out. So I saw a neon orange pedal sitting in the case, and instead of walking away, I said, "What could that be?" And I walked over to take a look. I was like, "Oh, it's a downward spiral by Mr. Black. That could be cool."
Yeah.
And that's where it should have stopped. Again, I've had multiple chances to stop myself. And did I do that? No. What I said is, "Hey, could I get a power supply and a cable over here? I'd love to test this out." And I was like, I'm just going to test it real quick and then I'm going to leave. Like, I'm not going to pay for it. I just wanted, I'm here. Might as well plug in for a minute. I saw there's a Morgan amp on the other side that I kind of wanted to plug into as well. So, all right, like just real quick. And I hit like 3 notes. I'm like, oh no, I have to get it. So I lied to myself long enough to allow myself to buy this.
Nice.
It is. I mean, that is neon orange.
That is
It's like
orange.
almost like too bright for me to read the white screen print on top. So I'm hyped. I
Well,
mean, I've been
congratulations.
slowly building up enough units for a all orange board, and I think realistically all I need is a delay. So I've got an orange tuner, got an orange comp. I've got 2 orange drives, unless you count the 50/50 as 2 and 1, which it is, which means 3 orange drives. And now I've got this, and and I've got the orange fuzz box. So I've got a
A lot of orange drives.
lot of orange dirt, now an orange delay. I can do an orange topper for whatever volume pedal I want to put on. So
Who makes an orange delay?
T-Rex does.
Oh, right. We've had this
Uh,
conversation.
yeah, we've had the conversation, but I'm not convinced that's the one I want. But
Yeah.
it's probably going to end up being the sort of thing like in another like 6 months, I'm going to walk through a store arbitrarily and be like, oh, look, there's an orange delay. Oh, no, it's an orange delay. I have to get it. So,
Give you
um,
some time to save
or
up
not delay,
for.
reverb. Reverb modulation would be cool.
Yeah. Nice.
So,
Well,
yeah.
congratulations.
And then we went to Guitar Center, hooked him up with a Squire Jag bass. I think it's the Affinity series. It's got the humbucker in it.
Okay.
He was pretty happy with it. There's a couple, like one didn't have like a super great feeling neck. It's nothing that could have been worked out. The other one, it was like the perfect amount of relief in it. It's like, there you go, problem solved. Made sure the nut was lined up, and it's not like like the strings are like off like a little bit to where
Yeah.
like the G string would roll off.
Yeah.
And then while I was there, I made further poor financial choices.
How long is that one? 16 feet? 18?
25?
20.
25 feet.
Ooh, that's a long cable.
It's a very long cable. So I got two of those. And
What?
yeah,
Where are
it
you going?
here, but it's orange.
25, 50 total feet is more than I use in my rigs, and I walk into the audience.
Yeah. But it's orange.
Yeah.
That sold me. My real thought there is I can probably, in my office space here, I can plug into the amp, run it around up here without having to roll over with my chair, and just have it plug in right over here for me.
I hope you have a buffer. It's a very long cable run.
It's all right. It'll be fine. There's buffers in like every boss pedal, right?
Yeah.
That counts.
I had a comment on one of my like reels, and it kind of made me laugh because I thought it was really goofy.
Oh,
Just like the way the guy said it. With a Strat or a Telly, you can hear the loss with a 20-foot cable compared to a 10-foot cable, and you can hear the loss with a 10-foot cable compared to a 6-foot cable. All cables Mogami Gold. That may be okay if you like the longer cables, but it is part of the choice.
okay.
But that with a Strat or a Telly, you can hear the loss.
But not a Les Paul, because maybe the higher output from a humbucker, it doesn't get hit as hard. But what if you're using low output humbuckers?
Yeah. No, I'm like, there's something that's not translating in that comment.
I think it's brain cells, but
No, I'm not gonna be mean. I'm not gonna be that mean. People say I'm mean all the fucking time. That was mean.
I mean, I'm sure there's something to it. I think the whole premise of a comment like that is like that
Okay.
someone else cares, and
Yeah.
frankly, I don't. This is orange. It makes me happy. I'm not going to be bothered too much by a little bit of tone loss. Oh no, I lost a little bit of high end. That's okay.
I just think most people can't hear it. Like live, especially.
Yep.
I'm very unbothered by a little bit of tone loss live. I'm very unbothered by it.
Yep.
In the studio recording, obviously that's a concern that you
Sure.
don't want to fuck with. But live, people aren't remembering like bad notes really live unless there's a lot of them. So that's yeah. that's
Yep.
that's where I stand. So
I stand on the I at this point really just play for myself in my office here, and if I'm happy with it, I don't care.
yeah.
I'm getting less and less snobbish about it all the time.
Good. And
It's,
you're
it's
getting
for
more and
me.
more snobbish about other things, I'm sure.
Yeah, like people's audacity to dictate what I should care about.
Audacity. I really do believe that like when it comes to the comments like TikTok does seem like the worst for the comments. And I don't know if it's just that like the user base is younger, so they're just like they do have the audacity to kind of not live and let live. I think that's harder for young people. I really do, because I just think that that's your currency when you're younger, versus when you're older. I think that you're a little bit less secure, so you're going to be like, if someone else makes a different choice, it's almost feels a little bit more like a an affront to your own choices.
Yeah.
Like when I was in high school, I didn't drink,
Hmm.
and some people treated that like an affront to their choice to drink.
Sure.
And it wasn't, but they treated it that way because I think that they knew that they shouldn't have been doing that at a young age, or they felt like it was judgmental when it really wasn't. It was just like a personal choice I was making.
Sure.
Um, so I don't think that when you're young, I think it's a lot harder to differentiate between someone making a personal choice for personal reasons and judging you for making your own personal choices.
Totally. I mean, I think there's that. I think there's a general sense of not feeling in control of the world around you versus the older you get, you kind of get that better sense of like letting go of what you can't control and taking charge of what you can.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff is stuff you can't control.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of armchair psychology to sling around that. But at the end of the day, if it's accessible, it's not, I'm not going to get into it.
There's some quote that's like, "Don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from."
Mm-hmm.
It's something like that. That's not quite what it is, but I'm like, that's a pretty good one.
I agree with that to an extent.
Yeah.
I think I don't know the way I treat like
It
criticism
depends on the type
feedback.
of it depends on the type of criticism, but like music, I it depends on the type. Yeah.
Sure, I kind of treat criticism in general as just data points. Nothing's really like uh, depending on who it is, I'll hold it to a higher degree of truth than somebody for somebody else. But even
Yeah.
if it's somebody that like I dislike, say like in a corporate environment, somebody I dislike says, "Andrew, I think you're a piece of trash, and here's why." It could be completely incorrect. It could be based on some severe misunderstandings on the part of that person. But at the end of the day, that data point is valuable because that tells me what at least one other person feels, and that might be not the only person that feels that way. And so I have to just kind of just tuck that away. It doesn't mean I have to react to it immediately, but just as part of the ecosystem of perception. That's how I kind of treat it.
That actually kind of reminds me of something that Phoebe Bridgers said in an interview in Billboard recently. I actually have that pulled up. But Billboard interviewed Phoebe Bridgers. Oh God, that was this week. That explains why it's pulled up. The question was, it has been a year since your guitar smashing moment on Saturday Night Live and the ensuing Twitter storm led by Rock's outraged elder statesman. I would disagree that it was led by the elder statesman of Rock. I know
Sure.
David Crosby definitely weighed in, but
Lead's a strong term.
the question is, what did that reveal to you?
Mm-hmm.
And Phoebe responded, "It's pathetic and funny. No part of me thought it would piss anybody off. I literally went to sleep and woke up like, what the fuck? It's just so stupid. I've said this before, but at least the right people hate me. At least it's not like I stepped on something that I didn't mean to. I was just like, oh, good."
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's an interesting way to think about it. At least the
Yep.
right people hate me.
Yep.
And I think that a lot too. You know, the people who don't like me, I don't really like them either. Like I think that's kind of okay. Like,
Yep.
oh, I also think you're an asshole. We mutually agree that we think the other is an asshole. That's cool. The guy who accused me of being a race traitor a few weeks ago. Yeah, he thinks I'm a race traitor. I think he's a racist piece of shit. Great. I'm glad he hates me. I wouldn't want him to like me.
You're much more aggressive than I am. I'm just more in the indifferent category of like, I don't have to care about what you think about me at the end of the day. It's just helpful for me to, calibrate in the back of my head, but I'm not going to cater to somebody, just anybody. Because you
That's
can't.
where I that's where I am for most people. there are people who I'm like, I'm glad they don't like me. If like that's if you're going to be like such a piece of shit, I don't
Hmm.
want people who are such pieces of shit to like me. If you're a stranger, I don't particularly super duper care what your opinion is on me. I don't want to be disliked by strangers in any way. Like it's not something I actively want
Sure.
is to be disliked. Like that's not what I'm going for. Because there are people who do that too. There are people who like all they do is rage bait. That's their thing.
Hmm.
They, and it can be as mild as there's like there are trends of people who they make videos of just like pouring ingredients on the countertops and like mixing them with their hands.
Yep.
That's just rage baiting
Oh
because
yeah.
it's so stupid. That's what these people get off on
Hmm.
is making people mad at them. That's not what I want. What I want is to foster like a community of people who like what I do, like what
Sure.
we do, are similar interests, want to have interesting conversations about important things to like the things that are important to me, to you, to us, and want to have that kind of community. And if you don't really like it, that's cool. Like you can walk on. And if you actively like think it's the worst thing in the world, it bye.
Yep. Like, okay, cool. It's not for you. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's not going to be for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be bothered by it. I'm not going to
Yeah.
lose any sleep over it.
Yeah. But I just like
If you
led
think
by
I am, that's sorry to let you down.
yeah, but calling David Crosby rocks. Outraged elder statesman. It's interesting to think that someone that perpetually high could be like outraged.
Sure. I mean, I just calling that dude like the outraged elder statesman. It's kind of like it's kind of like on your way to Thanksgiving, like with your partner for the first time, like, oh yeah, and there's like that we've got like that one uncle. Instead of just saying, oh yeah, like he's absolutely a pedophile, racist, like etc. Like
Oh
just
my god.
saying it out loud and just be like, oh yeah, it's like that one uncle. It's kind of how that reads. It's like
Yeah.
giving enough deference for what it should be on paper.
To be clear,
If
we're
you
not calling David Crosby either of those things.
no, no,
No,
no,
he
no,
is he is neither of those things. He is just a boomer, a hippie boomer to be sure. But that was a his take was odd.
it was strange. It's like weird hill to die on, but it's so last year, and I don't know. Eh.
Though I do like Neil Young's quote about him, which is like basically David Crosby should write a book called Why No One in the Music Industry Talks to Me Anymore.
Nice. Yep, that'll do it.
That will do it. Absolutely.
You want to talk
Yeah.
about semiconductor chips?
No, do you?
Like a little bit.
Okay, then tell me about semiconductor chips, dude.
So
I
ever
can
so
learn.
briefly, because I don't want to send everybody into doom for eternity.
First, can
Uh,
you tell me what they are?
I mean, just chips like electronic chips.
Okay, I'm just asking for the listeners. I am
Okay,
the proxy of the listener who doesn't know what they
that's
are.
fair. That's fair. Electronics. Anything that's more than like a basic analog with any sort of chip in it. Chips need to be, they get made. It's not like those individual parts are then built out as individual parts by like your local pedal builder. They're ordering those parts and then putting them onto on a PCB. So where do those come from? Those usually come from Taiwan, is where the bulk of those are built in the world, and then the materials for those to be built are sourced from different parts of the world. And one of those places is Ukraine. So Ukraine supplies, I think, like 80% of the world's semiconductor grade neon, which is what's required for the to power the lasers, essentially. to
What?
create semiconductor chips. Oh yeah. So
Huh.
if one thing, so there's two things here that combined would be catastrophic for the pedal industry, but I mean at that point it would be not great for the rest of the any tech related industry. Anyways, is Ukraine is taken by Russia, and then China says, "Cool, well, we're just going to go ahead and take Taiwan." There goes semiconductor chip. Um, yeah, that I mean, it's not like it's going to go away, but that's suddenly a ton of leverage, and that'll be interesting to watch play out if that does indeed happen. But I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful based on what I've seen this week. I think Ukraine's going to possibly pull this off. So we'll see.
Huh.
Yep. How's that for under the radar economic widespread impact situation that could come out of all of this?
Well, I don't really know why anyone would choose to fuck with Ukrainians personally, having known a few.
I mean, yeah.
Like, yeah. Huh. But it just seems like a bad career choice to fuck with a Ukrainian.
I agree.
Yeah. Um
Zelensky's my hero right now. I mean, US is like, hey, you want to ride out of there? And he's like, I don't need a ride. I need ammunition. Like, come on.
yeah. Yeah. That guy was on like he won his country's version of Dancing with the Stars also.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He was like a comedian. Like he was
I need to
also like
look.
a celebrity. Yeah.
I need to read more about this dude because what I've seen out of this week in the headlines is just top tier leadership. And like, I want to do a case study. Like, I want to read into this and like, how can I learn from that level of like, if his balls are any bigger, it would slow down the rotation of the earth kind of status.
Yeah. I stand with Ukraine. I think we both
Yep.
do.
Yep.
Yeah. So, fuck Putin, and I stand with the Russian citizens who are risking their lives to stand up to him because that
Mm-hmm.
is not easy to do there.
Nope.
And I stand with all the Ukrainians who are risking their lives to for their own independence.
Mm-hmm.
And shit, this is terrifying and bad.
A little
And
bit. Yeah.
yeah, great, great.
Yep. No, the semiconductor thing is all secondary. It just
Yeah.
happens to be
Oh
gear
yeah.
related, which is why I brought it up first.
It's interesting. I did not know that. And closer to home, bummer news. Mark Lanegan of the Seattle grunge band Screaming Trees died this week, which is terribly, terribly sad. Someone I know, Jeff, played guitar for Mark for the past 13 years. So I guess 11 years of his life actively. And then obviously the past 2 years were COVID. But
Mm-hmm.
um, so that was shocking, though. I didn't realize that Mark had really severe COVID
Mm-hmm.
and had been in a medically induced coma. I guess I thought he had been doing better, but no cause of death, but just really, really sad. Man, what a beautiful voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm afraid we lost him there.
Yeah. He did not like that song. He would not have appreciated that. He
Well,
would have appreciated a lot of things.
it's not my fault. It was his number one hit of all time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he did not like singles. He did not like the soundtrack. He did not like Screaming Trees. Man, his book is just like such like his first one, I should say, such like the lost art of a rock and roll memoir that is just like un unabashed. Like he's like, I'm just gonna calls them how I sees them. It is it's almost refreshing how he does not care about burning bridges in it, but
I mean,
Man,
reckless.
a little bit.
Can't say
I
it'd be my first choice, but
yeah. But man, Courtney Love and true Courtney Love fashion.
uh oh.
She deleted this, but she had to make it all about herself. Well, Mark and Courtney and Mark and Kurt especially were really close friends. Courtney Love actually paid for several of Mark's rehabs, and he does credit her with his sobriety in his book. He speaks pretty highly of her, but I feel like
Mm-hmm.
she apparently thought that their friendship wasn't uh, properly given uh, a lot of time
Mm.
in their book. So she writes, "Rest in peace, Mark. You were a good friend to me and Kurt. Even if your book you wrote our close friendship out, I'm still baffled and so sad about that. But sigh, quote, market forces of sexism, number sign. It is what it is." And Anthony Kiedis in his book Scar Tissue, despite us being roommates and hanging out a lot and also in bed for years, previous to me begging Kurt not to kick Chili Peppers off the Cow Palace New Year's Eve '92 show due to Flea, who never sold me out, generosity being the reason Hole could ever rehearse. In Scar Tissue, I first appeared on Kurt's arm whining, "Okay, go sexist market forces, hot dog emoji. You fucking dudes and your stupid fucking books. I'm finishing mine now, so it'll be riddled with lightning flashes of brutal truths and remembrances of all your little wieners, hot dog emojis. So put on your panties, because you'll need them, winking emoji. I'm over taking your BS books where I'm a, quote, whiny adjacent of Mr. Cobain, period, personally." In any event, the winding sheet and the stunning Whiskey for the Holy Ghost were my brilliant soundtracks for all of awful 1994. I always thought you were a man of great honor and underrated. I'd have done anything for you, and I did. I co-signed your mortgage. I put you in sober living for a year. I paid for 3 rehabs. And of course, I never wanted or needed any public acknowledgement or thanks for it, and I never did get it either. She did. LOL. I heard you had a long COVID bad death, and I'm so sorry. Rest in power. I'd like to think you'd have. Oopsies. No. I'd like to think you'd have come around and made up for your appalling rendition of me in your tome, Mark, wherever you are, dropping the rocks. Yeah, I feel like I had a stroke reading that also. Yeah, no.
Remember the days when statements like that would have had to have been cleared by a publicist instead of just like Thursday night after the second bottle of wine on the couch while smoking a cigarette? Like,
Why did she start going off on Anthony Kiedis in the middle of a post about Mark Lanegan dying? Courtney, stop. She deleted it and just posted something nicer later. But
screenshots are forever. That's the thing.
oh my god, I needed to screenshot it because I'm like, what is What? He's actually very like positive about the help that she gave him in his book.
There's a lot of ways that that could be responded to, but I think uh, the most constructive one is please see a therapist.
Oh, don't do that to therapists. No.
Oh, that's a reminder. I've
I
got a couple referrals in my inbox for
though
looking for a new one.
if you think I'm not going to read Courtney Love's book, you're wrong. I am going to read it.
I believe you will.
I'm going to
No
read
doubt
it.
in my mind.
Yeah.
I probably will not.
I listen. I think she's going to be the most unreliable narrator on the history of the planet. But damn. You know, I just really want to know what her take is on these things. It's everybody's biggest fear is like all these rock stars from like, you know, they live their 20s and the 30s and they just run amok. and then they live in fear of when they start releasing the books. They're like,
Yep.
oh shit, people are
I
going to
mean,
start releasing books.
yep.
Yeah.
It's like the super delayed equivalent of like, oh my god, did someone snap what I did last night?
Yeah, yeah. Now. But like back then when that shit didn't exist,
Right.
people are like, oh fuck, books. Because they didn't think about, because also that kind of happened before, but like it's a little bit more recent that like everybody can get a book deal.
Yep.
Because like there's digital and there's audiobook, and I'm like, hey, you write your book, you sell some copies, you get your money, and you ruin some lives.
Yep.
You tell some stories that people never thought would be heard again. And like
Yeah.
there are some people who I know that like when they write their books, it's going to be doozies, like for fucking real.
It's
Or
all the
like
hot gas.
books written like involving them. Oh, I know that people there are people who live in fear of books being written that have stories about them in them.
I mean, there are worse ways to live life,
Mm.
but that's not how I'd want to live mine for sure.
There are worse ways to live life than in constant fear of somebody like releasing your deep dark secret of why your former best friend doesn't go on tour with you anymore.
Yep.
Yeah. Is it because you slept with that person's partner? No, is it because you groomed a child? Yeah. No, it's bad. So many bad books. But Mark Lanigan's book, it wasn't so much like that, but it was very much honest to his um point of view. And his former band members in the Screaming Trees, some of whom he was very um positive about. There was a woman who would play bass for him very briefly. He spoke great things about this woman. He's like, I loved playing bass with her. I thought we were a better
Mm-hmm.
band with her. And then when the brother decided he wanted to rejoin the band because his marriage didn't work out, I thought it was total fucking bullshit. And he got so mad about it. Um, he says terrible things about the guy who wrote a lot of the songs. But he admits to his own faults as like a terrible partner, boyfriend, human being as well. It's kind of amazing. But I don't know why I'm talking about this.
I mean, I suppose that's going to be a lot of how he's remembered, and I love his voice and all, but if that's how I'm remembered when I die, I'm going to be really sad. So,
I mean, he's always honest.
right, but that's a double edged sword for legacy, and I don't know if that's what I'd want.
Honesty really is. Unfiltered honesty, unabashed honesty like that. You have to remember, he was raised in a very different place than a lot of folk. Like Ellensburg, Washington, like a rodeo kind of
Yep,
town. Those are different places, man. Like,
I agree.
they're the
But
kind of places where you got to put up or shut up, or you get shut down, shut out, get your lights knocked out kind of places. Especially back then.
yeah, I'm not saying that it's unjustified or that
Yeah. Most
I'm
people
not.
grow out of it.
I mean, I think that's a fair point, but I'm just for me personally, that's not how I want to be remembered. Yeah,
No.
I'd rather be remembered for someone who's got tact,
I think
because
most
you can be
people will remember.
honest but tactful about it.
I think most people will remember him for his music. As someone who's so recently read his memoir, I'm thinking about it.
Sure.
um I want to read his second one about being in the coma, but you
Too
know,
soon, maybe.
maybe too soon.
Yeah.
But it's sad. It is sad. He was such a friend to like Kurt and Lane Staley. He
Mm-hmm.
and Lane were very close. He toured with Lane, and there are a lot of stories about Lane Staley in the book from Alice in Chains.
Mm-hmm.
I've yet to read anything about Lane Staley by anyone because I've read Patty Schimmel's book, her memoir, and Mark's, and they both have lots of stories about Lane. He just seems like one of the most beautiful humans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of good things about him as well.
yeah. one of the
So
one of the story. Sorry, one. Just yes, no. Mark was an interesting guy. I like his solo stuff a little bit better than the Screaming Tree stuff. But there's so much uh wah pedal on the Screaming Trees stuff, I think. Some of that grunge stuff had a lot of wah pedals. Looking at you too, Jerry Cantrell.
I to pivot a bit.
Oh, you want to
I'll,
pivot?
well, before I pivot, I mean I've just had one of their I've had Ivy by Screaming Trees stuck in my head all week.
Mm.
Just from the pure angst of that song is just the vocal angst is what really captured me as a kid listening to that.
Yeah.
That's the one Screaming Tree songs that will always hold my attention. But pivoting a bit to other folks that I look up to on the celebrity side of things. I was watching Star Wars last night, and I had a strange real. Melissa and I were talking. She's like, Carrie Fisher's like got this poise, and we're starting to think about like, wait a minute, we are both older than she is in Episode 6, but it feels like she's like this. It was just like a really strange realization. One, we're
How
getting
old was
old.
she? Because she was only 19 in episode 4.
I thought she was 17 for some of the scenes in Episode 4. Let's look it up. Carrie Fisher age in Return of the Jedi. She was 25.
What? But what about episode? Is that episode 4? I don't know. That's A New
Uh,
Hope.
yeah, but 25 in Episode 6, which is what we were watching last night.
Okay.
So I, no, it was just a strange realization, like someone that I've looked up to since I was a kid, and realizing like, wait a minute, I'm now older than they were when they were acting in the roles that captured my attention. It was just a very strange realization, but also good gravy. Aside from the super like cheesy awkward scene like on the bridge in the Ewok village where Luke's like, my father has the Force and I have the Force, my sister has the Force, like
Yeah.
that whole montage is just like pure 80s cheese. But outside of that, like her, yeah, it was really solid.
that's kind of it's easy to forget that how young some of these folk are
Mm-hmm.
when they are that famous. I mean, Carrie Fisher, obviously her mom was Debbie Reynolds, so she
Mm-hmm.
had let's just be honest, she had a little bit of a head start. As
Yes.
phenomenal as she was and talented and deserving of every single ounce of success I named my fucking cat after her. I love Carrie Fisher. Talk about flawed human beings. But it's kind of like Prince being 19 when he released his first record, and he was like in his mid to early 20s when Purple Rain came out, and just thinking about like how incredibly successful people were
Mm-hmm.
at young ages can really make you feel like a slacker.
No, it doesn't make me feel like a slacker. It's just like it's kind of more so in the realm of perception of age,
Yeah.
of think like, yes, that is a leader, that is someone with poise
Hmm.
and like that gravitas,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
you
like
can
looking
feel it
around the
very
other people around
engaged.
me and even
Yeah.
looking at myself and going, wait a minute, like because I kind of feel like I'm like the young kid on the block sometimes, and like, wait a minute, like no, like if Carrie Fisher can hold that level of gravitas, why can't I. Not to say that I am Carrie Fisher, but that's a high bar. But
No, that's
detaching that
true.
from age, I think, is more what my brain was fiddling with that last night.
Well, you have to remember that she had a lot of experience as well, starting from a young age,
Sure.
as her character especially. Like her father was her adopted father was a commander, and she was, going through the ranks from a very young age, like the character was. And so like experience can start very young. And leadership is interesting. Like, I studied leadership in college. Like, I have an emphasis in it.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, it's on my degree. um so there are different obviously there are different kinds of leadership. One of which is like servant leadership. That's obviously
Yep.
the Jesus kind of leadership.
Yep.
And you can study leadership you can become better at leadership.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think a lot of people believe that you are a born leader and that's a thing.
I
That's
mean,
absolutely not a thing. You
I think it can be, and but it's one of those, like, it's a skill set, and some people might have natural inclination towards that, or a more natural understanding to start with. That doesn't mean that that's where it ends.
that's not like, it's not intrinsic. It has a lot to do with, I think, probably how you were raised, like the
Yep.
confidences like that were instilled with, like
Mm-hmm.
how with like what your parents did, um like schooling and stuff. But no, there's no such thing as like a natural born leader. It's just like who's going to step up when it needs when the time comes, um, and who is going to put aside what's best for them and look at what's best for everybody. And I think, to pull it back around to music, I think that some things a lot of bands lack is they do lack leadership. And I think that's why, bands tend to hire managers,
Mm-hmm.
is because, you know, you need somebody to be that kind of leader for the band. And sometimes it's just easier to have somebody else do that. Have somebody else make the hard choices about what to record, when to record it, when to go where, what kind of touring to do.
Yep.
Sometimes it's just easier to have somebody else make these decisions so that you can focus on the creative elements. But even then, like, most bands are solo projects, and that's just kind of how they are. Or there's like one or two main creators, and then the other people in the band are essentially hired guns. And maybe they have like a lot of importance still, and they're still part of the family and the main dynamic, and they're important
Sure.
and they're never going to change. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not essentially a solo project still. There are clearly exceptions to the rule. We've talked about Queen and how every single member of that band wrote at least one number one hit, multiple top 10 hits, and how that never happens. But then you look at a band like Pavement, for example. Pavement's the Stephen Malkmus project. like let's be real. Like
Sure.
yeah, sure, there's some input from other members, and that's how bands work, but essentially a
It's like
solo
a
project.
90-10 split.
Yeah. Guided by Voices is Bob Pollard. But is it the same when Bob Pollard goes and does Boston Spaceships? No. Why? I don't know. It just isn't.
Different project.
Yeah, it just feels different. So,
Different goals.
yeah. But
Well,
I just had to pull it back to music, sorry.
no. You're absolutely right there, and uh, no,
last week's
leadership is
episode
valuable.
last week's
Big fan.
episode did really well.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Oh,
And I think it's because we talked about guitars immediately.
oh. I should probably go back and check the comments. I usually do check comments. I don't
You
know if I
do?
got to this week. Yeah, I'll go and watch the live replay on the comment. It's like never can make it to the premiere for my schedule, but
Oh.
I do scroll through the comments and read through all of them. Typically,
Oh.
I know.
I tried to do them on like Monday nights, and I just don't like doing them when I'd rather be making or eating dinner.
That's fair. I mean, with that, hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason. Hi, Gresh Zeppelin. Hi, Value Vinyl. Hi, Fat Panda Cat, probably. I'm sorry. If you're actually here, if any of you are actually here, I'm really sorry if we're not getting a shout. This is not really live. But yes, hi, Jason. Hi, maybe Noah, maybe Joe. I don't know. Who
Well,
else?
speaking
Always
of
Jason.
making dinner,
Yes. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Oh,
thanks for listening.
Patreon.
Patreon,
Patreon.
yes.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
Rate, review on iTunes and Spotify, I guess.
Yep.
Shop. GetOffsetPodcast.com/shop.
Shop, shop, shop.
Affiliate links. We have Sweetwater. We have Reverb. We have Perfect Circuit. We have Coach Guitar Tutorials.
You should just edit in all the QR codes on the front of the screen.
No! Too much work! Refuse! No. Alright, thanks for watching. Thanks for understanding.
My name is Andrew.
My name is Emily. Goodbye!
Bye.